welcome to Blood Brothers Podcast, episode 19. I'm joined tonight by Rob Parker and Chris McDonald.
Hello.
Hello.
And we collectively are joined by the incredible and international author, Awais Khan, joining us from Pakistan, author of In the Company of Strangers.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hey,
Welcome.
Awais.
Also to say, a good friend of all of ours, we love you dearly. Welcome. We'll be gentle with you.
Yeah, can I add this? Awais Khan is trademark the nicest person in the publishing industry.
Yeah.
Right there. Like, he is just the greatest dude. I love him to pieces.
Thank you
100%.
so much. Thank you so much,
To
everyone.
emphasize that, what time is it where you are?
I am, it's 12 a.m. here, so 12:08. Yeah.
Who gives up midnight to talk to us?
Who doesn't give up midnight?
Yeah, that's the question. Who doesn't?
Yeah. We're really gutting the men from the boys here.
That's a jolly loot.
Awais, would you, for the people who haven't read it yet, and if they haven't, they're idiots, but for the people who haven't read it yet, could you just give a little précis of In the Company of Strangers, your beautiful book, for us?
So, so In the Company of Strangers is a very contemporary look at Pakistan. I wanted to write about something that didn't quite sort of expose, the bad things of Pakistan, because most of the people in the West think that Pakistan is a bunch of shanty towns and poverty-stricken people. So I wanted to change that image a little. So it's about it's about the secrets and lives of Pakistani high society and how a 40-something housewife gets involved with a 20-something model, and that's that.
And that's
This is one of the rarities in my life, this book, Awais, because there are about 3 books in life I've read twice. One is Jaws, one is Jurassic Park, and one is In the Company of Strangers.
Oh, wow,
yeah.
That's like the biggest compliment ever.
Well, we're
seriously.
all looking forward to Steven Spielberg's version of this.
Yeah.
I hope so. God, I really hope so.
Oh no, it's if I'm allowed to say this, I was lucky enough to read this last year, and I said it was spellbinding at the time. I urge everyone, and I'd add to this, Western readers. I would urge Western readers to read this. It's beguiling, bewitching, and I would still stand by the expression spellbinding. I think it's superb. You broke my heart, Awais. You absolutely broke it, but in the absolutely best way ever, man. So yeah, it's just a super book.
Yeah, I 100% agree with all of that. I think it's one of the more lyrical reads of my reads last year.
I only wish that I had
What year was this? Earlier this year.
Yeah, I only wish I had submitted it to Red Dog Press, or I'd known about Red Dog Press back then. I would have, it would have been really nice.
Oh well, as you know from having sent me the first 3 chapters of your next book, it takes a long time to read at Red Dog Press. I'm still sitting on them.
Well, in which case, that's a massive question. What is next for Awais Khan? But I'll leave that until.
No,
time is right.
Let's have it.
Oh, you want to do it? Okay.
Okay.
What is next? What have you been working on, Awais?
Well, I've back when I finished In the Company of Strangers, there was this idea that came to me for a young adult dystopian trilogy, and I just went ahead with it and wrote it. But my agent then said that we have to establish you as an adult fiction author first. You can't just jump around different genres. So then I decided to work on. So my next novel, the one I've just finished, is based on honor killing in Pakistan, and it's currently on submission to publishers in the UK and US. So keeping my fingers crossed.
I haven't read those first 3 chapters yet, but I know it's going to fly. We had a conversation in London back before lockdown, before I got ill, before everything happened.
Yeah.
And from what you told me about it and the discussion we had, I think it's going to be. Well, I want to say it's going to be your breakout literary success. But
Well, I hope so. I hope you're right, Sean. It's just a lot of people don't have that kind of confidence in South Asian authors. But hopefully, that will be changing now in the in publishing with everything that's going on, and we'll see some more diversity. Hopefully.
Yeah, and
Awais, you were at the forefront of that. You were at the absolute apex peak of this.
I hope so. I mean, if only I had like even 1,000 readers like Rob, I could easily retire with my millions. So that would be really nice. But yeah, hopefully,
Rob,
let's see.
Galvanize 1,000 of your readers and let's get retired.
Okay, let's do this.
Come on, people. There's at least 100 people listening right now. Let's go. Everyone tell a friend. Everyone tell 10 friends.
Yeah.
So, Awais, what was your, for if we just dip back to In the Company of Strangers for the moment, like, I mean, researching this, I mean, did this all come very naturally to you to write this story? Or was it hard? Did you have to go deep into, I mean, obviously you're looking at two different ends of the sort of the financial spectrum in a way, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. The thing is that within the Company of Strangers, I didn't have to do any research at all because, as belonging to a certain section of society in Pakistan, I've been observing these people for years. And I just thought that, that is what came naturally to me. However, for my honor killing book, I had to do a lot of research because that is something I'm not familiar with at all. So I went to the rural areas of Pakistan. I interviewed people. I interviewed a lot of people that I knew of there and their house staff. And, the picture that they gave me was terrifying and horrifying. It's, it goes on with rampant disregard in South Punjab. So it's really sad. But yeah, to answer your question about In the Company of Strangers, it's all mostly based on observation.
I wondered whether you'd been moonlighting as a model for a while there, Awais.
With those cheekbones.
Ali's work was, based on your own, perhaps.
I wish I had the physique to, pull that off, but I did actually.
You could be a hand model.
I was actually, I'm really into digital marketing, so I did digital marketing for a lot of companies back in the day. So that is how I got my foot into this industry, and that's how I examined all of these people. So otherwise, I don't think it would have been possible.
That's brilliant. That is brilliant. And with your as yet untitled honor killing story, we talked about. I think that the reason that I'm so confident that it will fly in the UK as well is that it has an enormous resonance here, which we talked about in terms of this is happening up and down the country, and it's brushed under the carpet as a sort of cultural aberration. But well, there's nothing we can do, and let's not talk about it, and let's not mention it. But honor killings or honor beatings or honor crime is big up and down Britain.
Absolutely,
and a huge thing to issue, and is never addressed in contemporary culture in a sympathetic way. So
that's what my agent said as well, that it will have huge resonance, maybe more so in the US than in the UK. So yeah, all I can say is I have my fingers crossed so hard that they're white now. So
Jesus.
So what else can I say?
You need to start crossing your toes as well, otherwise
Exactly.
Yeah.
the fingers are going to fall.
Any available digit has got to get crossed.
Absolutely.
I felt like there were so many themes in the Company of Strangers that I just to hit so hard, because I think you write with such an honesty, Awais, that so because we've talked on so many other occasions about other things than your book, I'm going to fawn over your book a little bit, if that's okay, please. So it's one of those things that the honesty there, you pull no punches whatsoever at all. I didn't feel like you did at all in the Company of Strangers. How was the writing process for you on that?
So within the Company of Strangers, it all started when I took the Faber Academy online course, their novel writing course, the 6-month one. I mean, I'm not usually a big fan of these courses, but it literally changed my life. The it's not about the stuff that I learned. It's more about the connections and the friendships that I made. That all that free feedback from these amazing writers that really set me for life. So, and that also, sort of brought me, got me the idea to start the same thing here in Pakistan, because most people can't afford that. In the like they can't afford all these expensive courses in the UK. So yeah, but the writing process was like I finished it in 6 months, but then I realized that it was quite rubbish. So and then I sort of worked on it for a couple of I think a year or maybe a year and a half with a proper editor, Hazel Orm. I somehow got in touch with her, and she was gracious enough to take me on. So I worked on it with her, and then I started hunting for an agent. And you're probably all aware how long it takes to get published. So the process started back in 2012, and then I got published in 2019. So yeah.
Wow, man.
See, Chris, I told you we weren't slow.
No, you weren't. You are. Yeah.
That's like lightning compared to that.
Yeah. Gosh.
And it's even more difficult being a Pakistani, because you don't have any sort of connection, and you have to sort of nobody takes you seriously because Pakistan doesn't have a publishing industry of sorts. So that was why it was so hard.
So were you reliant on the UK publishing industry or the UK agents and your UK publisher to generate it back to Pakistan, or did you start with the Pakistan publisher? And because there is a Pakistan version, isn't there?
Yes. So basically what happened was I did try to approach the local publishers there, like Oxford University Press and everything, but they were having none of it. Obviously, why would they? They're like, you came out of nowhere. Why should we publish your book? So then I sort of I was actually determined to get a UK agent, because if you get an agent in India, they're only responsible for getting you a deal in the South Asia. So they don't have any clout outside of South Asia, and I didn't want to be another regional author. So that's why I worked really hard to get a UK agent. That's why it took so long for me to get a UK agent. I mean, I started off with the big ones, and then I totally worked my way through the list. And so yeah, but I think then it took a while to get a publisher as well. But once we got the UK publisher, my agent had submitted to South Asian public, the big five in South Asia as well. So literally 3 or 4 days later, we got the deal with Simon and Schuster, and then the trade ban happened between India and Pakistan. So Simon and Schuster couldn't send the copies to Pakistan. So then they sort of got in touch with the Pakistani publisher and arranged everything. So I had nothing to do with it.
Oh gosh.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's such a testament to your tenacity that you just kept pushing, knowing that you have to break the UK market from abroad in a different time zone. In order to.
I was absolutely determined. I was like, I do not want to be relegated to South Asia, because then it's very difficult to break from that mold. And then people, I don't know, people just don't take you that seriously if you don't have a global sort of presence. So yeah, that's what I wanted.
Well, I love that, because of the efforts. I mean, because the effort is obvious. I mean, you in this country, Awais, you're widely known now. You are well known here. I know you are, and I know that I saw this week that In the Company of Strangers is in Waterstones, Durham.
Yeah,
it's just it's amazing. I mean, that must fill you with so much happiness, considering the journey you've been on.
I know it's always so it's always a pleasant surprise when I realize that the book is actually in a bookstore, because that's the thing with independent publishers. It's so hard because of all the clout that the bigger publishers have. So it's always really
Tell
nice.
Me about it.
I actually saw my book at Foyles. It was placed in their highlights, so that's it's probably selling really well there. And they told me that.
Oh,
They're
wow,
like,
wow.
we seem to be loving your book here. So yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, if you'll permit me, now you've mentioned Foyles. Gents, I was lucky enough to be at the launch event for In the Company of Strangers was it July? Was it early last July, Awais? Was that right? Or was it June?
Yep, early July, yeah. No, it was July.
Early July. With A.A. Chowdhury, who's a Loom author. And her book, The Scribe, was coming out at a similar time. And it was this brilliant event up on the the top floor of Foyles. The whole floor was taken out, and There was loads of, Ayo Anatari from Shots Blog was there, wasn't she, interviewing you guys? And it was just the best do. It was amazing. Absolutely amazing. Yeah. It inspired me massively being there that night.
Yeah, I mean, I remember it was quite kind of like a dream come true. I would never have even conceived that, my agent would be able to get, pull something like that off. So I was really happy when that happened. But yeah, after that, I was like, maybe I'll just, things will keep rolling like this, and I'll just leave foils in my Mercedes and, back to my expensive flat in London. But none of that happened. So yeah,
come up with the top down.
I think we're probably all still waiting for that one, Awais.
I know. Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
I wouldn't mind leaving foils in an Uber. To be fair,
it was quite an experience.
I'm sorry, Sean and Chris. I'm so sorry. I got so excited about Awais being here. I'm just talking like mad. I apologise.
You keep going.
Why we love you.
I actually just want to cut you here just to say that I'm such a big fan of the Blood Brothers podcast, and I remember back when I was, back when the lockdown had happened and things were so, everything was depressing, and I used to listen to this, and it really made my day. Especially the fact, it's really rude of me to say I'm really terrible at this, but Sean was actually, I think, just recovering from COVID, and he's like, I'm just on my way out. So it meant as if he's on his way out of life in general.
like Blood Brothers was his last will and
testament.
Exactly. So I couldn't help but laugh. So yeah, it's been really, I've been having a lot of fun, and it's such a privilege to be here today.
Oh man!
You're joined by one of the actual red dogs.
Oh yeah!
Hey!
Nice. He's chasing flies. There's nothing we can do.
That's a big doggy.
Is it?
Yeah, there's 3 of them. He is a big doggy.
Yeah. Well, Sean. Next time I'm in the UK, you have to invite us all to Red Dog Towers.
Yes. Red Dog Towers. We need to.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You'll be jumped upon by beasts.
Shall I fire some Twitter questions your way?
Yeah.
Oh God.
I feel these are 2 of the most academic Twitter questions we've had.
Wow.
I'll start with Stephen Gold's one. So he says, my question is, what is the most important thing you want to express in your writing?
Oh, Stephen's asked a very tough question. I'm not that intelligent, to be honest, but I think my answer would be that I think I really want to showcase what's actually going on. So a lot of people come up to me and they're like, why did you portray such a negative image of Pakistan, despite my intentions of portraying it in a positive way? So my reply is that I don't want to lie. So that's exactly what I want. I want to write what's actually happening in Pakistan. And if it pisses people off, or if people think that I'm trying to do it deliberately or anything, I just don't know what to say, because at the end of the day, you can't lie. So my intention is always to show what's going on in Pakistan and how I can help shine a light on what's going
on. I think that makes you sound very intelligent.
I agree. It only reinforces that notion that Awais is the most honest writer out there. Pulling no punches, even about your own situation, your own homeland.
Yeah, it leads us on nicely to question 2.
Oh,
it's as if we planned it.
Oh, nice.
So, Helene, hello. Have I said that right?
Yes, you have.
Get in. I always panic.
No, you have to remember it as if there's a hay truck going up a lane. Hey, Lane.
Yeah.
Helene. Helene.
I'll remember that. Helene.
She's amazing. Hey, Helene.
Hello. Great question, by the way. She said, it must be challenging to write about attitudes in your culture that you disagree with. For example, the misogyny in The Company of Strangers. How do you balance authenticity with wanting to make sure readers don't ascribe those views to you?
Well, that's an excellent question. And hello, Helene, and thank you so much for asking it. You see, it's very simple. People who are writing, like, for example, Rob is writing crime. So it doesn't mean just because he's writing about murders that he's actually a murderer. so that it doesn't.
No, but he is though.
I hope not, but but that's the thing. I have to portray an honest image of what Pakistan is, and my intention was that if I could talk about the misogyny and the fat shaming and all of the other society evils that go on here, maybe that would help start a discussion, and maybe people can be more forthcoming about how bad these things are and how badly they can affect a person. So just because I'm talking about them doesn't mean that I believe in them, or like, for example, if I'm writing about them, it doesn't mean it's my personal opinion. So a lot of actually readers have made this, they have this misconception. They gave me a couple of 1-star reviews that, a male author is writing about this stuff and they shouldn't be writing, and, it could really be a trigger for other people. So my answer to that is that if I will not write, or if writers will not write about it, then who will? And how will you create a dialogue around it? So yeah.
Dear, I just want to applaud that. It's such a noble way of looking at it. Can I ask that question though, Awais? Like how to build on that? How has the book been received in Pakistan?
Well, so far I haven't received any death threats, so all good. I did.
Technically, that will be the making of your career, though, when you do that.
I know. I mean, I did receive some really some comments from some female and male authors that you're justifying extramarital affairs, and that's really bad of you. I'm like, I'm not justifying anything. I'm just, I wrote what I saw and what I observed.
Yeah.
So it's, but otherwise, 99% of the readers have been really complimentary, and they're like, I mean, it's been a really nice run so far. So yeah.
It's interesting that, isn't it? By shining a light on the misogyny and shining a light on extramarital affairs, you open yourself up to criticism. And you just said, as you said, if somebody doesn't start the discussion, who's going to start the discussion? It's not saying that I think extramarital affairs are brilliant or misogyny's the right way to go. That's saying observe and discuss.
Absolutely, and that's how people will learn that it is not okay to shame others. It's not okay to engage in misogyny. Then how else will people learn unless they actually see it happening in books and movies, and they see that it's not a good idea to do that, man. So yeah.
Gentlemen, can you imagine how good the next book is going to be?
I just
the treatment of the Ori killings. Come on.
Well, the thing is, I mean, like I finished my second read of it, and I'm still just as shaken as after the first. It's so under my skin, but I find it so instructive. And can I just to compliment this? Awais, I haven't really told anybody this, but I've only found out that I can talk about this in a public setting just recently.
Yeah.
But for the last 2 years, I've been working with an elderly Indian journalist on his autobiography, and he lived in Lahore prior to partition.
Wow.
I've been working on this and talking with him about India pre-partition, etc., and the entire time, and so I found this just hugely interesting. And I was right in the thick of writing this autobiography at the time I was reading it the first time, so I just found it like magnificent. Really, the challenge you made to that, and the way you represented that area, I just found fascinating.
Thank you so much, Rob. And I think it goes without saying that, as soon as the pandemic ends, then you guys should all, plan a trip to Lahore. So you can be my guest.
Oh, I'd love to.
Yeah. It's a real shame that Rob's not a Red Dog author, because that we were going to do the Red Dog holiday out in Lahore maybe, but unfortunately
I get this every episode.
I know.
Sharon's on the bus.
I've actually been waiting for a Red Dog book from Rob. Like it's kind of like a Rob Parker Red Dog / Red Dog book. So.
You know what? He has submitted one, and when we get round to starting Red Puppy, The children's arm of Red Dog.
Children's book.
He will be a Red Dog author, or be a Red Puppy author.
But I don't know the way.
He'll get to go on day trips, but not the whole
pace
holiday.
at which Bob writes books and releases them. It's like amazing. I mean, I need some of that.
I need a break, man. I mean, I'm not feeling so well at the moment.
Chris, even Chris, he's like, his book just came out, and the other day I was reading on Twitter that he's finished book 2 and he's working on book 3. I'm like, guys, are you machines or something? Because
book 2's done and set. We're on final edits. It's out in November. Book 3.
Yeah. Can I add as well, mate? Book 2 is extremely good from Chris.
It is.
Thank you.
Even better than book 1.
Extremely good.
I have his first book with me, A Wash of Black. So it's in my shelf here in Pakistan. So
Whispers in the Dark is going to be beautiful sitting on top of it.
There's so many questions about the shelves. Your shelves.
Oh, your shelves are beautiful.
They are not supplied by Library Steve. That's all we know. Who's the Pakistani equivalent of Library Steve? That is what we really know.
Well, I actually am not familiar with that at all.
Having never been
Probably
to a mobile hot tub.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's like I've been collecting books since I was a child, so it's kind of like some of them are pretty old, but most of them are new. Like over the last 5-6 years, I've gotten worse at this. So I buy far more books than I'd ever be able to read.
Oh, because my wife asks me this all the time. Always like, why do you have so many? Like, my only answer to that is that I don't have enough. Like, I need more. Because I want them so much. Like, when my wife's gran passed away, the family came in, gutted the house, and we arrived on the drive to find a skip full of books, and it just killed me in half. No. And I was rooting through it, trying to find anything, like, because I only had so much boot space. Like, what can we get out of this? And I found some like really early edition Ian Fleming Bond books in there.
Wow.
Yeah, it was just astonishing, all this stuff that had just been chucked out because it was deemed of no value. It killed me. Books, the more books. I mean, I could never throw a book away.
Oh no, absolutely. When my maternal grandfather passed away, he left his I think 1960 edition of War and Peace. So it's one of my prized possessions. It's really good. I'll post a picture of that on Twitter after this podcast.
Yeah, I've got some early plates from first edition Winnie the Pooh's. The illustrated plates and stuff that just found in a
now you have
to
skip. I think now you need to be a millionaire or something to get these first editions. So know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I do have a first edition in the Company of Strangers. I've got a first edition Wash of Black, and I've got a first edition from
well, I can happily say I've got a first edition of the Penny Black as well, and I do have a first edition of A Wash of Black and lots of ebook editions of the other Ben Brackett series. So yeah.
Oh man! Well, so one of us has to make it big then.
Oh yeah.
Basically, for this plan to work.
Statistics say that 1 in 4 authors will see a modicum of success. Surely, there are 4 of us right here. Right, Awais, it's